Welcome everyone to our data science and technology course. This week we're going to do two things. I wanted to take a look at working with social media analytics, which is a nice continuation of the things that we've been talking about, text analytics, image analytics, working with multimedia. And it's certainly a very good area, again, if you're looking for ideas for a data science project, or if you're looking for something interesting to do for your master's project. This is an area that a lot of companies are interested in. I'm going to see how much I can get to today, because on Thursday, I would like to take students through Workday Student. And so I hope everybody put it on your calendar to attend Thursday, particularly if you are planning to register for fall 2025. It's less important if you're graduating this spring and summer because you will not have to transition. But if you need to register for fall 2025, you'll need to do it using Workday Student. And that is a completely different system than what you used to register for this spring. So we're going to spend some time. We're going to use, since we're a little bit ahead of schedule, we're going to use some time to make sure that all the students, and I'm even thinking, I think I may even add an assignment for students to demonstrate either they've applied for graduation, which is for either spring or summer. You need to do that. So, you know, there's a deadline coming up end of March. And then if you're not graduating, I want to make sure that everyone has been able to log into Workday and complete their onboarding tasks and is in the process of getting advised. Okay. So let's kind of talk about a couple of resources here. Okay, so a couple of the readings for this week. This topic is, I'm just going to close this down, is social media analytics. So what we're talking about is gathering information from the web and from social networks like Instagram or Pinterest or LinkedIn or Meta or Facebook, and it actually is broader. I mean, part of social media analytics is, of course, looking at some of the data that we can gather from looking at your website activity, things like page visited, looking at things like retweets, looking at various clicks. That is certainly very useful, but it also is looking for text. It's looking at the images, it's looking at the behaviors, it's looking at all the interactions, and we're typically using it. Now, this is, let me just kind of take a look at this. So, I don't need to do that. So, what we want to do with all this information that we're gathering off the web? Well, if you're a business, here are some of the ways that companies are using social media analytics. They're looking at trends, reflecting their various offerings and brands. They want to understand what is being said, and also if they're doing an ad campaign, how's it being received? A lot of interest about how are customers feeling about our products and services. It's gauging responses. It's identifying kind of market research. Are there particular features of a product or service that we didn't think was that important, but our customers really like? It's also a way for us to check out what our competitors are doing, what our customers are saying about the competitors, and looking at how third-party partners as well as different channels are impacting performance. So we're often, we're looking at our website traffic, but typically in a marketing application, that's just one channel. We're looking at, what happens when they call us, what happens when they email us, what happens when they write us, what happens when they visit our stores. So they're looking at all the different ways our customers can interact with us. And again, companies may use this information to help with product development or product improvement. It's also a way of trying to figure out how we can improve the customer experience. It helps with competitive analysis. It can even help us with coming up with ideas for operational efficiency. What are our customers saying? They may even give us some ideas for how we can reduce costs and optimize our resources. So that is, and I was going to say, when it comes to social media analytics, we're using a variety of different tools and techniques. So, for example, looking at the text. So we've got the natural language processing. We've got the need to do, in statistics, being able to segment, to look at, to stratify our population of customer into various demographics or customer groups. We're very interested in trying to analyze behaviors. We're trying to understand tone and intent. So a lot of sentiment analysis. Also, that goes with trying to understand what is the energy of these sentiments, what is the toxicity of these sentiments. We want to be able to understand, again, the voice that goes with the sentiment, so the prevalence and intensity of conversations. We may use things like clustering analysis because we may not be quite sure what we're looking for in all these conversations. So we may be using some unstructured approaches to see if it can help discern certain features or attributes or patterns that we can then follow up on. And certainly the use of dashboards and visualization, because that can be very useful for market managers, for example, to go in and be able every morning to check their dashboard to see what are the latest trends in terms of what's going on. Okay, so that's a great little article that kind of introduces social media analytics. I also wanted to take you to the Cosmos. Now, this is really interesting because if you look at up on the 6th floor, we have the Center for Social Media and Online Behavioral Studies, Cosmos. And it's kind of interesting. If you take a look at who they are funded by, see, can I make this nice and big? I'm not sure. It may not work out. But if you take a look at who they're funded by, they are being funded by projects from NATO, projects from the Army, projects from the Navy, projects from the Air Force, projects from the Department of Defense. Dr. Agarwal has done a lot of consulting for governments. And what's kind of interesting is if you look at their projects are, you'll notice that you'll say, well, wait a second, these projects don't look like the projects that we saw on the previous article. And that's all the difference between what corporations are interested from social media versus what governments are interested in about social media. And so one of the things, if you take a look at their projects. A lot of it is looking at things like misinformation or disinformation campaigns. We now realize that these campaigns can be weaponized. Nations, if they want to disrupt somebody else's elections, if they want to undermine consumer confidence, if they want to cause, more strife and upheaval using social media, it can be a tool. So you can think of it as sort of weaponizing social media. And so being able to detect these campaigns, to be able to understand who the actors are, to be able to monitor the spread of these campaigns, to be able to monitor the impact that these campaigns are having. Again, the sentiment, the toxicity, what is being said, where is it being said, who is it being heard by, who are the influencers. These are the projects that Cosmos is working on, and it's where Dr. Agrawal is getting essentially defense research contracts to be able to study these. And if you take a look, he has a very nice page. You can see what sort of jobs they're looking for. And in particular, there's sort of two branches of Cosmos. One branch is developing the tools to make it easy for folks to gather the data for social media and to be able to analyze. And so some of the tools that have been under development continue to be under development. The original was the blog tracker, which was looking at the text that is being generated. And now they're into the video tracker because they know that there's been this shift. 20 years ago, when Dr. Agrawal was a graduate student, the social media was much more text oriented. But now it's really dominated by YouTube and TikTok and looking at these videos. And so being able to do the video analysis, I mean, not just looking at the comments and the descriptions, but this gets back to what Dr. Dagtis was saying. Can you be able to see the patterns and trends in the video, extract that information from a video and be able to use it as part of your social media analysis? Okay, so this again is a neat website to go through. You can see what this group is doing. You can see what they're publishing. And again, if you're thinking either short term, I'd like to do some social media analytics, you could certainly do it as a data science project. You can certainly think about maybe long term, maybe developing this into a larger project to do as part of your master's, or Dr. Agrawal has a number of students who are working on their PhDs. So it is an opportunity. Definitely check out their career page just to get an idea of the types of skill set it takes for Dr. Agrawal to be able to produce and publish research. So anyway, that is something for you guys to check out as well. Okay. Another resource that I came across is this article, and it's almost like actually it's I think a whole chapter, but it's quite nice. It is a really great overview of social media analytics, and the whole, I was going to say, the whole 30-40 page chapter is online. So you've got everything from the introduction, and they give some of the terminology. So you'll notice here, things like opinion mining, sentiment analysis, text analytics, and they'll talk about some of the research challenges of The first challenge is the scraping. Okay, so how do we get data off of social media? Well, there are tools, there are paid services that help with the scraping. In fact, with Blog Tracker, there's sort of a built-in scraper that you can use. So you can kind of tell Blog Tracker what it is you want, what kind of blogs you're looking for. And it will, part of the tool is it'll do the scraping for you and then produce some visualizations. But the first issue is, how do you get data off of the web? So we're going to have an assignment, a web scraping, and we're going to be using a tutorial from one of my favorite group of people, Geeks for Geeks. And they have a really nice Python web scraping tutorial. And you can do it with either Python on your laptop with an internet connection, or you can use it with your favorite IDE, or you can use it with Google Colab. So let me take some time here, and I'm going to kind of go through I'm actually going to go through this tutorial. What you're going to do for this assignment is you're going to pick one of the techniques from this tutorial. So you can look at requests, Beautiful Soup, Selenium, LXML, URL Live, and what you can do is try out some of their code and just play around with being able to do some web scraping. So basically, for this assignment, what you want to do is, go ahead and tell me about the website that you're looking to scrape. Show me the code that you used, and show me the output that you got. And that's really it. Okay. So let's talk about what are some of the things. So I actually played around with this tutorial, and I wanted to show you some things. Now let's take a look. All right, let me see if I can copy the selection. Okay. And let me find a website. This is from Octoparse, top 10 most scraped websites. Seem very appropriate, if we're going to do web scraping, to pick a website that has something to do about web scraping. Okay, all right. So this is the original website, and here's the code. I'm going to basically say, get this I'm going to use a little library called requests, and I'm going to do a get request. Wow, that's not too much. Say import requests, and then everything's green is just comments. So it's really just request.get, and here's the website. And then I just want to, print R, and I want to print the content. So I guess I want to print the success code, and I want to print out the content. So let's just see. Let's see if this is working. Okay, so I got a responses 200, which means success. And then check it out. It is printing it out as this. Now in this case, I have it set up so it's just printing it out as one long line of data. And as you're looking at this, you might say, well, wait a second, that doesn't look anything like this. So what the heck is it printing out? Well, what we can do is let's go down here. See if I can go right down here. Okay. And let me click on View Page Source. Okay. So, on any web page, you can right click and you can view the page source. And this is what it is scraping. So if you take a look at here, you see that doc type HTML, you see the header. Well, if we go to our web scraping, check it out. This is what it is printing it out. It is printing out that HTML code. If you have any CSS code, if you've got any JavaScript code, that is what it is printing out. So that is what a scrape looks like. And so you can see, that's why, the first challenge is the scraping. The second challenge is extracting what it is you want to capture from the scraped document. Okay, so you can see that there is quite a bit of processing after you do the scrape because you may be, it depends, what are you looking to get out of this web scraping? Are you interested in the content? Are you, is there something about these other sections? Are you trying to get information, from other links or things that are available from this page? Are you trying to get to their terms of use? Are you trying to find their privacy policy? These are the things that you then have to check out. Okay. Now, I have a couple other ones here. So let me show you what else can happen. Let me go ahead, because I said, we've got a web page. It was just, they just worked on it. So we have a brand new updated, web page for the department. What happens when I try to scrape that? Okay, so all I'm checking is I'm moving to a different website. Oh, wait a second. I'm not getting 200, which means everything's okay. I'm getting a 403. What does a 403 mean? Well, a 403 means that it is forbidden. So all I'm getting is a header that says, nope, we don't want you to scrape us. So that is one thing that when you go to look for a website to scrape, you may find that you have to kind of check around to see which sites will allow their websites to be scraped. So it turns out that UALR, doesn't want people to scrape its contents. So it's put in protective measures that prevent that. So just so you know, you may, let me put it this way, I'd like everybody to try, let me put it this way, if you're working with a buddy, each of you find your own website. You know what I'm saying? As long as each of you have picked a different website to scrape, I'm happy. As you say, there's not that much there in the code, but part of it is actually checking out what can you scrape. And that is why we should talk about, from Scrape Hero, is the ethical web scraping and its legality in the US. And so it goes by various names. You may have also heard people talking about web harvesting or web data extraction. And of course, for us, right now, it's pretty manual. But you can see how you could then write a program where you could feed it a list of URLs, or you could have, as I say, part of your web scraping could be extracting URLs that you then feed into your web scraping algorithm. And what you're trying to do is just accumulate all that source information. So you can see how, on a large scale, you could really automate this to do a mass scraping. Okay. So what are some of the issues? Aggressive web scraping can increase the load on website servers, which could degrade the service. Okay, so that's an issue. Also, if you're scraping data from very dynamic websites, that means the website structure or even the information may not be accurate or reliable, unless you're working with it in real time. Okay. There are some things to think about. So, for example, if you were doing a research with social media, one of the questions is social media web scraping, does that constitute human subject research? That is a gray area. And generally, if I have a student doing social media research, I always tell them, look, write up your project proposal, let's run it by the IRB, and let's make sure that they say either you're good to go, that this is not human subject research, or they say to us, well, make sure that you're following these practices to make sure that you're going to be good with following federal guidelines. And so, and notice everything is gray. You'll see this. The terminology is gray. So things like the copyright. Now that is if you're scraping and republishing, you're violating copyright. But if you're just scraping and you're not republishing, then you're probably okay. And there's stuff going on, Meta versus Bright data. We even saw this with ChatGPT. There were a lot of news sources that said, we're not going to let you scrape our news articles and feed it into ChatGPT, and then you're going to turn around and have a paid subscription because you scraped from our data sources that we paid money to put together. And so there's I want to say there are those issues about where is the quid pro quo in terms of web scraping. As I say, for a master's project or even a PhD dissertation, typically, because it's for education, it's for research, it's for open publishing, generally that's not really an issue. You're not making money, and so people are not going to come after for empty pockets. So, okay. All right, but this is kind of interesting. You can see some of the issues here, privacy and confidentiality, because you might say, well, it's out in the public venue, but people do mess up. They don't set the privacy settings. They put out private data. That's why I have folks go through IRB. But there's usage. There's the question of consent. You have to worry about bias and discrimination. Again, more and more, websites, may be kind of shutting the doors to web scraping. So the question is, are the stuff you're web scraping, since you're not getting the whole web population, are there certain biases? So maybe are you getting less quality stuff because the higher quality stuff has been walled off? Okay, so we have, preserving the value, how do you use it for impactful decision making, and this looks at, so we have to think about the morality, we have to think about what are the consequences, and so yeah, this kind of gives you a nice overview of the different things to think about. Now, of course, you're not going to have to really worry about this for your homework assignment, but certainly if you wanted to build a data science product based on web scraping, you would certainly want to take a look at the legalities. And you can see some of the legal cases. Meta, that's the Facebook, versus Bright Data. You saw eBay versus Bidder's Edge. Over, they were fighting over system overloading scraping. Facebook versus Power Ventures. LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I know they are very particular about not letting people scrape their platform. And then, of course, Zillow, multiple cases emphasizing data ownership and consent requirements. So, and I say, definitely read through this article, and you can, I think, get a lot of good information about, if you will, the ethical side of web scraping. Okay. Okay. Let me go ahead here. Okay. Now, I went through some of the different parts of the Geeks for Geeks tutorials. So I had, by the way, I had good luck with importing requests. I also had good luck using Beautiful Soup. And one thing I liked about using this is you'll notice that when I used Beautiful Soup, I was kind of pleased. I got a little, I got something, rather than having one long line of text, you'll notice here I got the whole little nicer formatting here. Here, let me make this a little smaller. There we go. Had to find the inner little mousy thing so I can go right up to the top. There we go. Yeah. So I like Beautiful Soup because I thought it gave me something. Yeah, that's kind of nice. It gave me something a little bit closer to the original page source. Okay, so and you can see their metadata, and you can kind of see their scripting. So yeah, I like the formatting from Beautiful Soup. Okay. I liked URL line request. That seemed to work. That was good for printing the HTML content. So that was nice. Now, what was interesting is I tried Selenium, which is a very popular web scraping tool. But I found that while Selenium works great with Python, it's hard to get it working with Google Colab. So I will just say I took down some notes. I basically, the Selenium code, when I put it into Google Colab, I was getting all kinds of error messages. And I actually kind of Googled around and found that, yeah, there's a whole bunch of issues in order to get that to work. So I was going to say, don't worry about, if you're using Google Colab, that's a tip for everybody who is good enough to attend class. You will know not to waste your time with Selenium, okay? Okay. What else can you do, by the way? So those are the main things that I want you to check out. Pick one of these techniques. But there are some other things. There's PyAuto GUI. That is a cross-platform GUI automation library that enables developers to control the mouse and keyboard to automate tasks. While it's not specifically designed for web scraping, it can be used in conjunction with other web scraping libraries like Selenium to interact with web pages that require user input or simulate human action. So that could be very useful, if you're testing your websites, Okay. The other thing is there's a schedule module that allows you to schedule Python functions to run at specific intervals. And that can be useful in web scraping in Python when you need to regularly scrape data from a website at predefined intervals, such you're doing it as an hourly, daily, or weekly basis. So, maybe you have a website and it's, that you're tracking and its content updates every week. So obviously you'd like to schedule, a scraping run every week. Okay. Okay. And then this is a little bit about, I was going to say, this is a nice article. I encourage you to read the whole thing because, they also mention, things like, Scrapey. Some of you may be familiar with Scrapey. And, they mention, some of the things that people are scraping are price comparisons, aggregating content, job listings. You can see Zillow, that's why they had multiple court cases, because people are always interested in real estate data and sentiment analysis. And job postings are very popular. I've often seen when we have a job and we post it in one place, all of a sudden, a few days later, we'll see that our job listing in 3 or 4 more job boards. And we're like, we didn't submit it to those job boards. No, somebody scraped it and put the information out on their job board, which if you're interested in getting your job information out, that's not too bad. Okay. Let me double check. Any questions about the web scraping assignment?
No. Can you use two, like I said, beautiful?
Yes. Can you use a more than one technique? You can. The minimum for this assignment is 1 technique. Could you go outside and I can see I got the answer to my question. Okay. I was going to say, if you have access to some of the other web scraping tools and you'd like to demo like Scrapey, that is fine too. The Geeks for Geeks is nice because if you've never done this before, it's pretty straightforward then to just go into Google Colab, copy the code, find a website, produce the output, take a couple screenshots, submit the assignment.
Right now, I tried with Amazon.
Okay.
And then it didn't work.
Yeah, Amazon. Yeah. Generally, and even writing up. If you tried a couple websites, I'd be even curious to see what worked and did not work. You may check out to see if some schools, still have their sites open for web scraping. You can check out, so I found things like tutorials and blogs seem pretty open. Tutorials and blogs seem pretty open. You can check to see if there's any sort of open publishing types of websites. They may not mind the scraping so much. But it's really fascinating just doing this exercise, trying out to see what you can scrape and what you get the 403 or some other error messages instead of the nice 200 is that's, I think, an interesting part of the exercise. And yeah, and are folks in the classroom good? Just switching over to bring up the Blackboard so you can see the screens. Okay. All right. Oh, and as long as we're talking about assignments, let me just double check the announcements. I've been enjoying seeing what people are doing with the image processing assignment. A couple of things is if you can put everything into one document, or even if you put it into one or two files. Some people are kind of showing me the before and after images, and then they're doing the code in a separate file. That is fine. But as they say, for grading purposes, when everything is kind of together and the code is in the appendix, it makes the grading a little faster. But I am fine. Again, I do understand. If you have stuff in your Google Colab notebook and you've got everything nicely presented, that's not bad either. So, the key thing that I'm looking for is not only the, I'd like to see, the original color image that you started with, and then like to see how you changed it to black and white, and then use that black and white image for your blurring, thresholding, and edge detection. So it's not, I've had some folks use some different images, and that's fine too, but it's kind of nice to see the one image multiply transformed. And one of the things I'm looking for is I really want to see the code that you used, or if you're using a package, provide the instructions or screenshots that you used, showing how you used the package to make the transformations. And so, and as I say, that's good. Some people are providing me with the description of how the technique works, which is, it's good to, I'm glad to see that you looked up, how a histogram is used in thresholding, and, how these different algorithms are converting, how the different functions are taking the RGB and converting it to a grayscale. But I really, I want to see the code, because the explanations, they're good, but I actually want to see the code that you used. Okay. And this is kind of interesting. Now the color to black and white is very clear. But for the Gaussian filter, the number one thing that you can get in trouble with the Gaussian filter is sometimes you have to play with the parameters to get a good blur effect. And so I just wanted to let folks know, the whole point of doing the Gaussian filter is to get a little bit of a blurriness. So, so your original black and white image and your Gaussian filter, you want to make sure you can see the blur. So I know I can see the blur. And so it is okay to play with the parameters. You may try increasing the sigma or decreasing the sigma, or you're maybe okay to try a bigger filter to get a good blurring effect. Same thing for the thresholding. You do not need to stick with a threshold of 127 or 128. That would be around 50% on the grayscale, because depending on, for example, if you have a dark picture, that 127 might mean you just get a black square. And the whole idea of thresholding is you're trying to set the thresholding so hopefully you can get rid of some of the background, or you can get rid of some of the details, and the objects that you really want to focus on stand out. So if you're doing the thresholding and it's coming up all white or it's coming up all black, or it's coming up nearly all white, or play around with your threshold parameter just to see, because the whole part of doing these operations is to try to make the main objects or the focus of whatever you're interested in the image to stand out. And the same thing with edge detection. Play around with the parameters just to see if you can get an image where you can say, yeah, I'm seeing some edges. So any questions about that? Okay. Well, another topic I wanted to talk about is yeah. So let's talk about data as a service. Yeah, it helps be here. 1 second, I gotta stay in the right week. Okay. So all right, another sort, data as a service. So what you can see is that a lot of companies, they're walling off the web scraping. They don't want to give away their data assets for free. So one way that you can get access to information is essentially with going after a application programming interface. Okay. And again, maybe what you'd like to do for your data science project, maybe you would like to maybe build a web interface that people can search or ask questions about something, and then you can, whatever they're searching on, you can do an API request. You get the data. You're going to work with the data to create some sort of visualization, something interactive, and that's going to be your project, building some sort of interactive web interface. And you might say, so what's an example of that? Well, here we go. Let's do North Carolina, I believe it's University, and this is the Twitter sentiment. Okay, and this is kind of dated, but this is an example of what we're talking about with what you can do with a API. Okay. So what this website is doing is you can put in a keyword. We'll do tariffs. That's in the news. And what it's doing is it's using an API to go out and get tweets that have that match that keyword. And what it's doing is that they're processing it, and then they're doing a series of visualizations. So, and you can kind of see that we've got some negative sentiments, and we can see that, on the energy level, it tends to be a little bit, looks like we've got a lot of points that are in this quadrant, which is a little bit more on the subdued side. But there's a lot of things you can visualize. You can visualize topics. You can look at the heat maps. You can look at tag clouds. You can look at timeline. You can look at various affinity mappings. You can check out the narratives, you can see, check out the posts. And so, and as part of your application, notice what's kind of nice is, they have an explanation of how to use their little web app. And they also even have an about page where they even talk about, what's going on in the background that they're processing the tweets. Okay. So I do have students that say, well, I'm not so interested in the data analyst role, but I really like to show off my skills as a data developer, and it would be great if I could come up with some sort of neat website that maybe I could host. I was going to say, you don't necessarily have to publicly host it. I mean, you can just demonstrate this, just using the screenshots off of your computer. But you may think about, well, maybe I can, host it, set up GitHub to host a public web app. Okay. So, but when it comes to APIs, okay. Let me see if I can make this a little smaller. Okay. All right. So what's nice is you'll notice that there's a lot of APIs here. Okay. I mean, many APIs have a free list, but I mean, let's just look at some of the things that you can get. There's an API where you can get, free cat facts. They have a Lord of the Rings API. They have news feeds. They have things on cocktails. But even and this free list is maybe a little deceiving, because let me go back and let me take a look at movies. Okay. So this is the movie database. And let me see if I can go to, let's just see. Okay. So what's interesting about this is it was not listed on the free APIs, but it turns out that they have a, as long as you're not, as long as you're below a certain level of activity, you can get a free developer key. And let me see. And this one, let me just go to the okay, so they've got everything, but here, let me just go in. Let me go down to the movie DB. Okay. All right. So this is the movie has everything for searching about movies, TV shows, personalities, and notice here, this is where you can get their API documentation. You can get their they have instructions for how you can find data, and literally, let's see, oh, there we go. So you can get posters, you can get what was the rating of the movie, you can get the overview, you can get release date, you can get the various genres that was assigned, the original title, the original language. I mean, you can read through their documentation to see all the different information that you can get about movies. And you might say, oh, so what would I do with this? But I'll give you some examples. So for our undergraduate students in information science, 1 year for their capstone project, we gave them the challenge of saying, well, suppose you've been contracted by the Arkansas Film Commission, and they would like to create a website that features movies and actors and actresses that come from Arkansas or have some sort of Arkansas link. So you can imagine, you could do web scraping and research, and you could try to find all the movies and all the actors and actresses or directors or movies that were filmed in Arkansas. And yes, you can put together your own knowledge base that you would then have to maintain. Or if you know how to use this API, and if well, so where do I find the field for searching for films or TV shows, filmed in Arkansas? What I can do is I can build something that will automatically pull that information into my website. So that's the idea with an API. Rather than you having to maintain the data corpus, you are asking for data as a service. I need to know, any new releases that are related to Arkansas. I want to be able to produce a list of actors who were, born in Arkansas. I want to, as I say, look at movies that were filmed in Arkansas. So that is, let's just see, I don't want this. Yeah, but notice here, they have, look at this, you have astrology, you've got audio. So yes, audio DB, if you say, well, I'd like to do something, but I am looking for creating a website, dedicated to, all things jazz, you can really think about what could you do with this data. And AudioDB also has a free tier. So a lot of times you can kind of check out and say, yeah, what is available? What could I do with an API? Another good one is, weather. Just see. Yeah, let me try finding weather. You're trying to find something. You're trying to create a web app. Excuse me. Or maybe this is something that you're creating for your Apple Watch. Something that gives a sunscreen alert. So, it kind of checks the weather for the day, or checks the hour, or, whenever the UV rays in that person's location goes above a certain level, the watch is going to ring and come up with a message, better put on some sunscreen, you can do that. What about things like traffic? Okay. Yeah. Well, this is interesting. Traffic could mean Netflix traffic, network traffic. But you can also look at things like seeing if okay, we're getting a lot of network traffic. What about airplane? Yeah, there's some stuff, people making plane data available. Let me just see, anything on automobiles? Okay. Cars. Oh, okay. 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 Now, who doesn't like a good cat picture? There we go. Yeah. I mean, cats are real popular. Can you come up with something that shows a funny cat picture? You know, okay. Okay. But this is another thing to think about as you're building your data science application. How much data do you want to collect yourself, and how much data is worthwhile getting a API subscription to get that data? So again, just something to think about. And again, the APIs may be a great choice if you'd like to create some sort of dashboard or web interface where you kind of pull in, API data, on demand, and then be able to manipulate it, work with the JSON and the JavaScript or the Python to pull out the information that you need. Pull that data in through some sort of Python library or Tableau function, and be able to visualize or the results, or display the statistics, or display the information. So again, just something to think about. Okay, any questions on that? Okay. Oh yeah. So just as I say, so probably the main message from today's class is definitely review the readings, check out the try the web scraping assignment, and I'm going to do one plug here because there's something that we can do. Is that I wanted to make sure, since we have some extra time, and as I say, we've been talking so much about text and multimedia, I thought, well, we don't have to kind of, it's social media analytics is an application of that stuff. But I wanted to make sure that everybody in this class has gotten exposed to workday.ulr.edu. Now, I will tell you this, if anyone's graduating in spring or summer, as long as you have applied for your graduation, and if you have any questions about how to apply for graduation, let me put it this way, you can go to ULR how to apply for graduation, and it's still in BOSS. Yeah. So let me put it this way. If you are graduating and you're not going to be here fall 2025, you can go out and, relax. Just make sure, because we always have this happen every semester, it is not automatic that you graduate. You have to apply for graduation. Even if you finished your degree plan, ULR will not give you your diploma unless you apply for graduation. The other little known fact about graduating is sometimes people will say, oh, I'm finishing my degree in May, but my family can't come to Little Rock until December. Do I need to wait till December to apply for graduation? The answer is because I want to walk in the ceremony. It turns out walking in the ceremony and applying and getting your diploma can be independent of each other. So, and this is very important because if you are going on the job market after you graduate, and you want to make sure that you can show employers you have your degree, or, maybe you're going for OPT, but even just for a job, employers want to see, oh, did you finish your degree? It turns out you can go ahead, you can graduate in the spring. Or if you are not finishing until the summer, you can go ahead and actually, I believe you can apply for summer. So let's double check that. Summer UALR academic calendar. There are 3 times a year that you can apply for graduation. And let's take a look at, let's go down to, let's go to summer 2025. Yeah, I think they have a glitch there. But let me put it this way. If we take a look at, oh wait, I know what it is. What am I doing here? That's fall 2024. Oh, here we go. Okay, check this out. If you are graduating this summer, notice you don't have to wait till the summer. The window to apply for graduating this summer, there we have it, is from January to July 8th, 2025. And and for the spring, well, let me put it this way. For the spring, I can tell you that ULR Spring 2025 graduation deadline, it is, it's March 24th, 2025. And it opened back in November. Okay. So just let me first we'll start off today just mentioning for folks who are graduating summer, spring, do apply now. You can log into your BOSS account, you select the Student Services tab, you click on Graduation Application, you can, this is interesting, you select your active major or program term, you choose your curriculum in which you want to apply to graduate. And as I say, it's always good to start this early in case there are any glitches. Records is available to help fix anything. Also, just remember, if you're graduating with both like your master's and a graduate certificate, you'll make 2 graduate applications, one for your graduate certificate and the other for your master's. Okay, and you basically tell it, I want to graduate spring or summer. And by the way, what happens if you applied for spring graduation and then later decided that, oh, I really am not going to finish until summer? That's okay. Office of Records and Registration can help you deactivate the spring application and then apply for the summer. There is no ceremony in the summer. And I just, again, if you are finishing this spring, apply for spring graduation. And you might say, but I'm really not, I want to walk in December. You can walk in December. That is not a problem. If you have, graduated within the last 12 months and you want to walk in a ceremony because that's when your family can get here, that is fine. So that's a very common thing. Students hold off on graduating, and then it's like, oh no, you're all finished. You don't want to pay any more tuition. You want to get out on the job market. A lot of students, again, you can apply to graduate this spring. You can walk this spring, but there's nothing that prevents you from contacting UALR and saying, hey, now your name will be in the spring program, but there is no problem at all if you have family coming in December to attend the graduation ceremonies and for you to put on your cap and gown and to walk with your classmates because what they hand you is your diploma holder. They actually don't hand you your diploma, just a diploma holder. And basically they just read your name off of a card. So it's very easy. So there's not a problem. So anyway, on Thursday, we will go through student work day, and I think we'll have a little assignment. But if you have applied for graduation, all you have to do is saying, hey, I have gone into BOSS and I have applied for graduation. And by the way, there's a back-end system that I can use to check to make sure you have applied for graduation. So just so you know that. But here's what I want everybody to do in advance of Thursday. Let me put this way, if you're going to be here fall 2025, I want you to make sure that you can go to workday.ualr.edu. And this is the screen that you should see. And so that's what we're going to be starting on Thursday. And we're going to take you through how you get onboarded. We'll take you through how you get your advising flag lifted. We'll show you how to look up classes for fall 2025. And basically, we're going to try to cover, we have even some more time the following week. Because my goal is for every student in my class either to graduate spring, summer, or you are all set with your courses set up in Workday Student for fall 2025. And part of the reason, and we'll talk, I will just say the entire University of Arkansas system is going to Workday Student as the registration system. That'll be very important to know because I'll take you through some screens and you'll say, why am I seeing the UAMS academic calendar? Well, UAMS is part of the UA system. Why am I seeing the 2-year schools? Yeah, because they're in the UA system. The good news is if you transfer to another UA system school, well, you'll be very familiar with the registration system. The other thing you need to know about Workday Student, and this is why you're seeing the emails and everybody's saying, you gotta sign up, you gotta register, you gotta get all set. Registration will start end of March. So we want everybody to be ready to register end of March. One of the things about this system is very big. It's very, let me put it this way, it has to cover every major for every degree at every school in the UA system. That's a lot of use cases. And consequently, while they did test a number of use cases, they didn't test everything. So part of the reason to get people to get into the system is we are testing as we go. So if there are glitches or if there are problems, we want to catch them in the spring and get them all resolved. The last thing we want to do is to have somebody show up the day before the fall semester and say, my data didn't come over, my degree information didn't come over, I don't know how to use Workday, I don't know how to get onboarded, I don't know how to get registered. And you don't want to be in that group of students because this is new. It's new to the faculty, it's new to the advisors, it's new to IT services. So you want to be on the front end of the wave. You want to get everything taken care of, so that, you can sit back and with a nice cold glass of lemonade on the first day of classes and just be enjoying things and not be part of the panic of folks saying, this is a new system. What do we do? What do we do? So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing on Thursday. But again, if you have already applied to graduate, hey, you can have a free pass. And I'll put out a little assignment because again, by the end of the semester, I just want to make sure that at least everybody in this class has gotten over the workday hurdle. Okay, so that's it, and we are on time, out of time. So I'll see you on Thursday, as long as you need to be knowing about workday for fall 2025.